If you're struggling with autoimmunity, this series is intended to help you to get out of that issue. In 2016, I'd started developing overt symptoms of autoimmunity, and over the past 8 years, I've learned a whole lot about the healing process, and I've become a kind of autoimmunity whisperer at this point. So this video is part of a series that I'm posting in honor of my new course called Healing with Food. My intention with this series, which I'm gonna put in the description bar, and I'll also put a little card up here. By the end of watching the videos in this series, you're gonna have everything that you need to start healing yourself of autoimmunity and anything else that really, these healing principles are universal. These are beneficial for anybody trying to heal anything. So if you've got a friend who needs healing, if you've got a family member who needs healing, if you've got any loved ones that has some autoimmune issues that they can't quite figure out and get to the bottom of, alopecia areata, lupus, whatever it is, please send them this series because I believe this is going to help a lot of people. This information isn't popular, and that's because in the Western medical model, it's funded by the pharmaceutical industry. They make a lot of money on symptom management, but they would be out of business if people started healing themselves. So I want to empower everybody who sees this series and anybody who's struggling with autoimmune issues to start taking actions that will really start healing your body, mind, and spirit. This is part 2 of the series. The last video, we talked all about the very important lever of healing with diet. Healing with diet is paramount. That's the very first step. We have to start healing with food. And that's, again, brendaturner.com/heal, 50% off with the promo code INSIDER. I got to just throw that in there because that's a huge part of the healing process, is healing with food. And that course, I'll tell you more about it later, but that's got everything you'll need to start healing in a big way, recipes, all that stuff. But today we're going to be talking about the very important aspect of daily rituals. So we're talking about all components of healing here. In this video series, we can't just talk about the body. And a lot of people tackle autoimmunity at the physical level of just diet. We just focus on the diet part. Many people don't even get to that aspect. But here's the thing, autoimmunity is a body, mind, spirit issue. Everything in the health field, any medical issue that you're dealing with, it's a body, mind, spirit issue. So we have to heal at the body, mind, and spirit level. Today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the daily rituals that are helpful in healing and that will aid your healing process. And these daily rituals are harmonizing to the body, mind, and spirit, and that's why they're included. The very first thing that we have to do in our daily ritual in our healing process is, if you have autoimmunity, a huge part of autoimmunity is having an overactive mind and an overactive sympathetic nervous system. You have a nervous system and it goes into sympathetic or fight and flight, or parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. And part of the autoimmunity issue is there's a nervous system dysregulation. There's a lot of research on this in the field of psychoneuroimmunology, and that's how the brain and the emotions impact the nervous system. The long and short of it is, when your nervous system is overstressed, when you're in a state of stress and hyperarousal, that leads your body to be in a state of hypervigilance. And that's that's a big part of autoimmunity, is when your immune system is waiting for any excuse to attack anything that comes into its periphery. The very first thing we have to do in the morning is some kind of sympathetic and parasympathetic balancing of the nervous system. Basically, if you're in autoimmunity, your system is fried and you are in a state of stress. This is why a lot of people who have autoimmune issues, it kind of coincides with stress. High stress equals a very good chance of having a contribution to your autoimmune issues. So there's like a 90% likelihood that you've had some kind of stressor if you're experiencing autoimmune issues. And this is something that might be, in the future, you might have to just make sure that you're keeping track of your stress management. So the daily ritual number 1 that we have to do is some kind of peace practice in the morning. A peace practice to train our nervous system to be in a state of calm and ease. It is an epidemic in this society and in our culture to have a complete disregard for rest and for peace and for inner stillness. And many of us don't know how to get to that state, or many of us don't reach that state enough. And so our bodies and our minds and our spirits are stuck in the red zone. We are, many of us, pushing pedal to the metal from start to finish on our day, and then our sleep is terrible, and then we can't figure out why we feel so tired all the time. Yet we are also at the same time wired. So in the beginning of your day, taking a decent chunk of time, especially in the initial stages of your healing process, taking large chunks of time in a selfish way and training your nervous system to be in a state of peace. That is primary. That is key. That is a daily ritual that you cannot skip. You can't afford to skip this step. It is in rest and digest that our bodies can heal. It is in rest and digest that our cells can finally just chill. It is in rest and digest that all the magic healing that happens when we're eating good food, when we're healing with food, and you're getting that dietary aspect out of the way, now your body's in a healthy state, but we have to give it now healthy, fertile soil in the way of peace. So some kind of peace practice, and I'm going to throw some out here at you, but your peace practice might look unique to you. Your peace practice, it's got to be something that just feels right for you. I'm going to throw some things out there, and these are things I've trained in. These are things I ended up becoming an expert in because it helped my own healing process. So number one is Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is an incredible resource for healing. Yoga Nidra is a form of meditation where you lay back, you close your eyes, and you're actually resting. So first thing in the morning, doing a 15-minute Yoga Nidra practice, even a 30-minute Yoga Nidra practice, is a fantastic way to train your nervous system to be in a state of rest and digest. And that way, even when you take your day on, you've got a reminder, you know how it feels. If you haven't seen the color blue, then you don't know, there's no reference point. But once you see the color blue, now you can remember it. Okay, blue. So when you wake up in the morning and you've got a restful state that you've bathed yourself in now and your nervous system is more settled, you're taking that into the rest of your day. So even if you happen to have a stressful day, you can lay back in the seat of your mind and remember, okay, that's what that felt like. And you can kind of take little sips of that throughout the day. Another thing you can do to foster peace in the morning is just plain old meditation. Listen to a guided meditation. I've got a free course in my school called Polishing the Mirror. And I put that together as little micro practices. So that's a series of 7 10-minute practices. And there's a Yoga Nidra practice in there that's 30 minutes. So I put that together for you. I'll put that in the link in the description bar. That's going to help you to meditate, and that'll also help you to learn different meditation techniques. Another thing you can do for peace practice is an actual physical yoga practice. So a physical yoga practice can be anywhere from 5 minutes to, up to an hour. I do this every day. I do like a quick little 5-minute yoga practice. I'll put a link for that in the description bar below. I have a 5-minute yoga practice on my website. And the reason I like the physical practice, so I do both. I do a meditation practice and I do the yoga practice. The meditation and the sitting meditation practice, that gives my mind, body, and spirit the space of nothingness that really helps for healing and for maintaining clarity of mind. And then the physical practice is the bridge that takes the spiritual aspect of peace practice and brings it into the physical world. So I don't just want to sit and meditate. I want to actually then carry it onto the yoga mat and do some kind of movement practice to start easing myself into taking the peace in action. So I'm actually moving with peace and intention. And that also carries me into the day. So those are some resources for you I'll put below. You can also make your peace practice in the morning, just drinking a cup of chamomile tea and reading a good book, reading something inspirational, having a nice quiet sit on the balcony, just whatever kind of resonates with you, but something that really fills you up and makes you feel super peaceful and really brings a sense of calm to your system. The second ritual I'm going to offer you is a mindfulness presence practice. So being in the now, being here now, is so healing to the body. This is a ritual because it's an all-day thing. And part of the ritual is remembering. So we're going to forget throughout the day. We're going to forget to be present. We're going to be thinking about the future. We're going to be thinking about what we're worried about, what I have to do next, what I just did, what I should have done better, and all that stuff. But we constantly, as often as we can, bring ourselves right here, right now, to the present moment. And that is a ritual. That's a constant ritual. If we're not in the present moment, our body can't heal. But when you get your mind and your body on the same page in the present moment, you're actually aligning yourself with God, with the universe, with the now. And in the now, everything happens right here and right now. You're actually in harmony with what is. Right here and right now, when you're really dwelling in the present moment, your body is more harmonious than it will ever be. When you're thinking about what might happen, when you're worried about what happened in the past, it's taking you, there's an image that they use in the old-timey kind of cowboy movies where the guy's got his arms kind of tied up and they're like pulling him apart. That's kind of what happens to our system. We're kind of pulling ourselves apart, worrying about the past and the future. So bring yourself right here and right now as often as you can. That means little rituals like this. Every time that you take a glass of water to fill it up and drink it, really take a second, like a full minute, to drink the water and only drink the water. You're not working on other things. You're just sitting with a glass of water, drinking it, feeling it go down your throat, feeling it go into your stomach. And you do that throughout the day. Little rituals like that. Even when you're putting on your shoes, when you're going for a walk, be as present as you can. When I was at the height of my autoimmunity, I also noticed that my autoimmunity kind of coincided with the fact that I was in a high state of stress. I was in a high state of stress for many years, chronic stress. And I didn't realize I was in a state of chronic stress and constant rumination, constant thinking about the future and the past, constant. And then when I realized, when autoimmunity hits, it's a really nice gift because it snaps you out of it. And I realized that I never was in the present moment. And then when I started dwelling deeply in the present moment and taking my 2-year mental diet, which I talked about earlier this year, I noticed that my body and my mind and my spirit started to feel very centered. And I noticed that my healing process was accelerating. So that's just paramount. Be as here and now as you can at all times, no matter what your ego would have you believe. There's nothing more important than being right here in the present moment. Nothing is more important than this right here, right now. A third ritual is intuitive action. Intuitive action meaning listening to what your body and your mind and your spirit would like you to do for the day and do those things. So this means sometimes you might plan out something for your day and it feels, when that day comes, it feels incongruent. It doesn't match up with what's going on in your system. You might have had a workout planned and your body is telling you, please, let's rest. Or you might have had a plan with friends and your body's saying, please, let's not do that plan right now. Your body, your mind, and your spirit are going to tell you what you need to do. Most of the time, if you have a really good plan and it's in alignment with your heart and soul, it's going to line up. But if it happens to not line up, it's really important to start listening to that guidance and listening to your hunger cues, listening very deeply to your intuitive processes. This is healing. That in and of itself is a healing ritual to tune in. And that's another reason why we have to do that first step, the peace practices. We have to tune in and kind of listen in. What are the marching orders for the day? What is my body, mind, and spirit wanting me to do with my life, right? When we show up and we listen and then we actually take action and do the things in our day that are congruent with our body, mind, and spirit, that's giving us power. That's giving our system a nice kind of authentic state of being. Healing is not just about the physical aspects of healing, the ones that we can see and hear about and the ones we have about in our head. Healing is also an energetic process. And even just the act of energetically doing the things that you know you want to do, that your body, mind, and spirit are asking you to do, that is healing, even if it's not in alignment with the logic. Okay? Even if it goes against everything that everybody would say is the right thing to do with your day. It doesn't matter. When I was at the beginning of my healing process, and I moved here to Austin, one of the first things I noticed was that my body, mind, and spirit, when I started taking this very seriously, my body, mind, and spirit wanted me to spend large swaths of time. There was maybe a couple weeks there where my body, mind, and spirit wanted me to spend large swaths of time without working. And you guys know that I had stepped away from YouTube, so it was like, let's not work for a little while. And instead, I don't know, it would be like a whole day of let's go see what the day has to offer. And it would be like it was very uncomfortable for my ego, and my ego was very unsettled, and it was like, but we need a plan. And my body, mind, and spirit were like, no, we don't. We need to go outside and take a nice 7-mile hike, get back. And then it would just, the days were unfolding like that. And that lasted for a couple weeks. In the very beginning part of my healing process, obviously now my days have a lot of structure and I do plan a lot, but in the beginning part of my healing process, in the very beginning, it was so important for me to let go of the tight, constrictive way of living that I was doing that was very disharmonious, caused a great deal of disharmony in my system, where I was ignoring cues from my body, mind, and spirit. And so it was almost like my entire being said, stop, listen up, reset, reframe. And this is going to be part of your healing process too. It's kind of a universal part of the healing process. The last daily ritual that I'm going to offer you is joy. This is very important. Do something joyful every day. Do something joyful every day. Do something joyful every day. Yes, I did just say that 3 times. Joy is a very healing energy. So this is uplifting for our system. Our cells love joy. Your mind and your body and your spirit, they are naturally joyful. So when you're in joy, it gives you a state that you're already meant to have. There's gonna be some days where it's really a stretch and you're not always joyful. Obviously, you're not always joyful, but joy is different than happiness. So happiness comes when we're comfortable, when we're eating some good food, or happiness is kind of a superficial thing. Joy is deeper. Joy is a little more unconditional. So you can be joyful and have a hard day. You can have joy and have sadness. There can be joy and grief. Joy is a deeper energy. So joy is what we feel when we're honoring our soul in the actions that we take. And that's kind of what I was just talking about, but this is a little bit more intentional. So going out and intentionally saying, what would bring me joy right now? How could I bring more joy into my day? How could I actually feel more joyful? For instance, there's a sunset gonna happen outside my window in about 30 minutes here. And it brings me joy every day to go out with my dog and catch the sunset. I drop everything I'm doing so that I can go outside and watch a sunset because that brings me so much joy. Another thing is creating little pockets of peace and space throughout my day, like little 5-minute micro pockets where I don't turn on anything. I don't have any devices around me. I just get a little 5-minute sit down, don't even meditate, just sit in peace and quiet. Nothing more to it. That brings me a lot of joy. So do something that brings you joy every day. That's very, very healing to the body. And that's a nice little ritual, whatever that looks like for you. So as you can see, these rituals are all open-ended. There's nothing really too specific in there. I'm not a really big fan of I see people doing these videos where it's like, I followed Andrew Huberman's blah, 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 and this is what happened. I followed Wim Hof's method and this is what happened. I understand that there's value to take from all these things. However, I think it's very important to start honing in on what feels right for you And that's why these are all open-ended invitations, open-ended rituals. I hope you enjoy these open-ended rituals and start using these to help your healing process. So if you want to learn more about any of this stuff, I've got the Healing with Food course. Again, like I said, Healing with Food, that's brendaturner.com/heal. And you can get 50% off by using the promo code INSIDER. I also have a community, and in the community, we talk all about body, mind, and spirit practices. We do a weekly group coaching session. I do regular workshops talking all about overcoming overeating, the undieting process, somatic releasing, dealing with trauma, emotional releasing. So there's a lot into it that goes into the School of Transformation. You also get a whole course catalog. And if you're interested in joining the School of Transformation, there's a 7-day free trial, so there's no risk. And it's at a really low rate right now, so it's founding member pricing. That's brendaturner.com/transform. So you can check either of those out. But in the meantime, don't miss the next video in the series. We're going to talk all about trauma and how to heal trauma to start healing your autoimmune issues. That's going to be a juicy one. You won't want to miss it. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.